Ladies and gentlemen, this is a man who needs no introduction. We ran this segment once already, but this is a great time to bring Mr. Akoye Media in because right
Don't put no
now,
mister on that, man.
hey, okay, the GOAT,
I'm
Akoye
already a
Media.
grandpop. I'm already too old, bro. Don't do that to me.
Man, stop, man.
This a
Your skin
Koye,
glowing.
bro.
You ain't. Mister is a sign of respect, man. Listen, we
Hey,
listen. We
man.
we
I mean, I
fight.
guess yeah. People ain't making mister these days, so I guess it is a sign of respect. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take
Hey,
that back. You're right.
we fight on the round table, but right now we civilized and we trying to get these
Oh,
folks
fact.
through the
Yeah,
we're trying to
respect.
get these folks through. I wouldn't say a hard time, but I want
It
to.
ain't even no hard time, man. Yeah,
It's
we
not.
good.
It's not, Akoya. But I do want to talk. I have some really specific questions for you today.
Oh, let's go, man.
Um, and
I knew you did. I knew that's why you asked. I said
that's
he about to hit me with something. He asked me to come on the
gotta
show.
hit you
I
because
know
I
it.
know that I get thoughtful answers, and I can really give you the floor and you'll dig deep. So, Akoya Media, ladies and gentlemen, this brother is somebody who needs no introduction, but I'm gonna give him one anyway. When it comes to film, he digs deep, and there's a few things that I want to attack as we talk about this Miami game. So for me, right now, the topic we all know it amongst Cowboys Nation is Dan Quinn run defense. You have two top five run offense rushing offenses coming up in the next 2 weeks.
Right.
Okoye, what are we gonna do? Like we jumping right into it. What do you want to do?
What do I want to do or what we gonna do? So those two different, very,
Okay,
very
okay.
different questions.
Let's pull back the layers. Micah Parsons at off ball. I have my thoughts,
Hmm.
but that's been one
We
of
got to
the.
change the wording because I think that's what the argument keeps coming from, right?
Let's talk about
When
it.
we say Micah Parsons and off ball, it's like one or the other. And I'm not saying one or the other at all. Nowhere near saying that, right? What I'm saying very clearly is Micah Parsons, we all fell in love with a Micah Parsons who, in his rookie year, was on the line 378 times, almost 400 times. He was off ball about 496 times, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So when I say Micah Parsons plays more linebacker, it doesn't mean play only linebacker, and it doesn't mean play only edge. It means move him around, and I don't mean move him to the A gap where he's just rushing from the nose position or rushing, crawling, or mugging the line of scrimmage, any of that. I want him to move around, meaning move him in his usage as well. Sometimes have him off ball guarding someone from the off ball position on first and second down or on first down when you know they might be running the ball. Not because I think that we solely need help as from a running perspective, which we do, but because this defense is now funneling traffic to our middle linebacker. We used to funnel traffic to LVE, right?
yep,
Nothing against LVE other than the fact that he's not. No one will say he's our fastest, our strongest, our best force player. But you're
right.
funneling all your traffic to one man, and if you're funneling traffic to a guy that's not a force player, therein lies a problem to me. And now we're doing it with Marquise Bell. We funnel all of our traffic to 14, right? And there's
He's
nothing wrong with
undersized.
Marquise Bell playing safety. He's a hell of a safety, in my opinion. But having that traffic funneled to 14 when he's dealing with pulling guards and tackles, we already saw what the
Doesn't make
results
sense.
are.
Yeah,
It's not fair to him because he's playing out of position. And I know he wants anything that's going to get him on the field. So obviously he doesn't want to hear this because he don't want to go to the bench right now. And maybe he shouldn't. We can explore things with Curse and other people, but funneling traffic to your playmaker makes the most sense. And when you have a playmaker who, let's just say, can only play edge like a D Law, I can understand you not being able to control which way an offense goes. They can just run away from them, right? But
hmm
when you have a guy like Parsons, you can put him dead smack in the middle of the field where he's not sitting there having to just merely set the edge, which it would
on
be
one
his.
side of the
Yes,
defense.
that's his responsibility when he's just playing outside. Just set a good edge. And to be honest, people think that he can't set the edge. He can, but his instincts are pursuit. He wants to go after the ball.
Yeah,
So when he's setting an edge and he sees something, he will jump into the B gap or he'll jump out of position because his instincts say go get it.
I
And
saw
that's
that a couple of times in the Bills
his
game.
his instincts say go get it. Go get what you see.
Yeah,
Right? That's not set the edge behavior. You know what I mean? That's not what you needed. Chauncey could do that, and you don't mind it. Chauncey would love to do it. He does that well.
Chauncey. I for the life of me, I just don't know why he's just buried on the bench. I think that he plays with hands. He plays force. He's physical.
Yeah,
It's a couple things. I got a lot to unpack with you, Akoye. Before we
yeah.
get to that, I
Oh,
want
do
to
you
show
think?
some love to my sponsors. Let me get them. Oh, did let me
Did I
let me
cut
cancel.
myself?
No, that's me. That's me.
Oh.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, sometimes
Um,
I hit that cord and knock my camera off. So could be
yeah,
me.
nah, that wasn't you. I want to give a shout out to the Real Insurance Lady. They are sponsoring this video. You
Mhm.
guys know the drill, man. Check them out. They will have. I'll have all the info in the description box. Listen, if you need health care, whatever you need, they can take care of you in less than 7 minutes. They do a really good job just listening to you. You won't be on the phone long, so make sure you guys check out the Real Insurance Lady. They are sponsoring this video. Thank you to them. Okoye, one of the things that I saw to your Marquise Bell point. They ran a dart scheme. And
Mhm.
for those of people who don't know, that's a gap scheme where you're pulling a tackle and he's
Mhm.
wrapping around. And uh, wasn't Dawkins was destroying 14 on the edge,
Yeah,
and
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 33.
and 33. Yep.
Mhm.
Anytime any gap scheme they ran, we're talking about the Bills here, and they were coming up and they were destroying him. And
Mhm.
I also have been so Clark has been high, Clark
Mhm.
has been low. I think that he is very slow to trigger. And what I mean by that is, and correct me if I'm wrong, or let's talk about it. I think one of the problems that I have with Clark is where Sean Lee would miss, he would just miss big. But he
Yeah.
wasn't just gonna sit in the middle of the field and wait. Whereas with Clark,
See, and
I don't see
you're
that.
right about the waiting though, right? But you got to give Clark a lot of grace, and the reason I give him grace, and see, this isn't the reason I didn't come out with this heavily, and
Right.
I've talked about it now because everybody's talking about it, and it's like, okay, well, I didn't start it. Well, I started it, but I ain't go ham. Now people, going ham, so I'm gonna just finish and say what I got to say. But I didn't want to come out with this because I don't have a problem with Bell and I don't have a problem with Clark. Really, I don't.
I
I,
don't have a
I
problem with Bell. I have a problem with Clark, but we can say we'll
nope.
save
I
that.
have a problem with neither one. Clark started playing for us in October of last year, and that was sparingly
Right.
last year. He is still in his rookie year. So if you look at it from that perspective, he's playing like a rookie. And
But
he is
Okoye, can I
in
ask
his
you this? Does
go
he
ahead.
catch to you? Does he catch? Is he a
Does,
catcher?
does he flash? You mean no?
No,
No.
no. So when I say catch, like
Mm.
when we watched Overshown in the small
Hmm.
sample size we had,
Hmm. Oh, yeah, yeah.
when you
No, that's
talk
what I
about
mean.
it,
You
when you
mean
talk
he
about a
flash,
gap,
like jump off the screen. Yeah.
exactly.
No,
When
he
I'm
doesn't.
watching Clark,
Mm.
even when he's tackling, right?
No.
He's catching tackles. My linebackers. That's why everybody wants to see what's the name so bad
Evans?
Evans is because he's going to come downhill and the play stops. When you play a linebacker, you close the gap.
Yeah.
Play done.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, I mean, there's no reason James Cook, and I get passionate about it. Why is James Cook pushing the power, Okoye? What are we doing? That's bad football. Let
Yeah.
me settle down a little
And
bit.
he's not even a power runner. That's
That's
like
what,
Tony
and that's a
Pollard pushing the
problem.
power. That's a problem.
That's a problem, McCoy. All right,
It
I'm
is.
gonna let you. I'm gonna let you.
It is. It is. And I'll give you that. But if
Okay.
I was looking at Clark and Bell as what they should be looked at, which is third down options when you want to pass rush with or get Evans off the field and Michael on the edge, I'm okay with that. But
Right.
when you look at it from an early down perspective, when you know guys could run or you're in a close game where the game's still honest and they can still run or pass, I don't think they're as viable as option. And that's just real, man. When you have Evans who had 159 tackles last year,
Yeah.
10 tackles for loss last year, and people when I say this, people look at 10 tackles for loss and they just listen to it. He had 2 sacks and 10 tackles for loss. That is 12 plays behind the line of scrimmage. If you were a defensive end, that would be 12 sacks
Yeah.
because a tackle for loss counts just as much as a sack.
Yeah.
If I tackle the ball behind the line and move the ball back, that's a sack or a tackle for loss. A tackle for loss is a sack. It's just you sacked the running back and not the quarterback. It's the
Yeah.
only difference. So he had 10 tackles for loss last year. Now I'm going to tell you how much gravity that has. In 5 years, Rashawn Evans, who's not injured, had 56 coming into this season, 56 tackles for loss. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
56 in 5 years.
This is a
He's
good
averaging
nugget.
10 a year. He's averaging 11 a year, right?
Right.
To give you the problem I have with the verbiage that we hear when we listen to people talk about this team and talk about the players, people say we miss LVE, including Dan Quinn, who said this.
He
To
did.
give you a perspective, LV has had 12 tackles for loss in his entire career. Entire career at linebacker. Evans has had 56. Micah Parsons had more than 12 his rookie year. 1 year. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's just
Yeah.
tackle for loss. I'm not talking about sacks or pressures or none of that. So you want linebackers that can play forward and play behind the line of scrimmage. That's just common sense, folks.
That's football.
That's common sense. Like, that's
Yeah.
what you want. You don't want linebackers that are waiting for the action, because if I'm waiting for you, if I'm lined up 5 yards to 7 yards off the ball and I'm waiting for you to meet me halfway, that means I spotted you 3.5 yards. I need to be able to see it, process it, and go get it before it develops, not after I see it. And if I am late, which sometimes you will be late due to horizontal misdirections, jet motions, things like that, you will be late at times. That's just the nature of the league. Unless you're just a bat out of hell, you're going to give up a lot of passing plays behind you. You're going to be late sometimes, especially when a team's a good play action team.
Yeah.
But when you're late, you need to be able to see it and disrupt it, blow it up after you're late. And
Yeah.
they can't do either of those two things. They're waiting. Bell doesn't wait as much. Bell will go get it, but sometimes he chooses sides too soon and jumps out of his gap, because he knows he can't meet the guard in the gap and blow that up unless he just chops his legs up and just sacrifices himself, right? But he can't just go blow that up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
sometimes he's early and he looks good when he's against teams that aren't able to get to him. When you have Hankins out there, Mozzie's out there, and they're keeping bodies off of him, he can shoot the gaps. But any safety can, for that matter, any safety can shoot the gap if they're out there and they're keeping them fresh. You can't touch them. But once he gets a hand on him, he can't deal with that. So to say that he's a linebacker is not fair to him. And I don't even think transitioning him to linebacker is fair to him, because he's not a linebacker. He's a big body safety who I think if he was able to play in Curse's position would be just fine. I don't think we have a problem with him right now. I don't have a problem with him anyway. I just think he's playing out of position. That's all. That's it.
Ooh, man, this is why we brought Akoye on, because I think that's some of what I've just been trying to get home to fans. Now, Akoye, you tweeted something that I also say. People think that I'm giving Dan Quinn a hard time. No,
Yeah.
we call what we see. It was just like last year when I said, "Hey, I don't know if Kellen Moore had a plan with certain things." Dan Quinn is awesome, and we talked about this pre-show. Dan Quinn is an awesome DC.
Right.
This is not
Awesome.
saying that he's not above criticism, though. I think too many times because our 9 times out of 10 we go into games and our personnel is just better than other teams' personnel. So we can copy and paste game plans. But when you start playing against teams who do different things schematically, like I said, and I'm going to show that dart play when we're talking about Bell, you can't copy and paste the same game plan. Akoye, talk about alignment, assignment, and personnel. You had a tweet earlier that I thought was really spot on. For those of you guys who aren't can't catch it right away, a lot of times the Cowboys will play with 4 down linemen. Now, D-Law may be in a wide 9, he may be in a 7 technique, he may be in a 4, but you're playing an even front. The problem with that is when you're playing against a Bills team that came out and said, we're going to play with 2 tight ends, we're basically in a goal line set or close to it, or we have bigger personnel out there. You can't stay in the math doesn't make sense.
You're at a disadvantage. So, I mean, people who play Madden know this. If you're playing nickel and I'm playing power I with 2 tight ends, I'm probably going to win that. I'm probably going to be able to run on you successfully. If I have 6 people in the box because I'm worried about Josh Allen passing, and they have 7 on the line, meaning they're 5 linemen.
The math.
They're 5 linemen who are already bigger than you anyway, because their smallest lineman is 315 pounds, and that's Connor McGovern, who we know is a powerful guy, right? So they're 5 linemen plus 2 tight ends, okay? If that's what's out there in front of you and you line up with 6 men in the box, 8 times out of 10, you're probably going to lose that one. Now, if you're blitzing, you're mugging the line of scrimmage, you're disguising things where they don't know quite what you're doing, and you could kind of bring some safeties down and mug. When I say mug the line of scrimmage, I mean everybody's in a gap. You don't know if they're coming or going. Everybody's in the gap, and you're confusing the blocking scheme and kind of discouraging the offense from running, because You're like, hey, we at the line if you want to run. Even though we small, we here. We got numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
To your size, we have numbers. You ever seen wild dogs and like African wild dogs? They're small, but they hunt
Yeah.
in packs. It's a lot of them. See what I'm saying? So if you're gonna
Yeah.
be small, you got to have numbers. We'll do neither. If you're not gonna have numbers, you need to be putting guys out there. Like the Jets will do this. They might not load the box, but they'll have two defensive ends that are averaging 280 pounds out there, with defensive tackles that are both over 300. Right? Then two real linebackers in the middle of the field that are 250. So if they decide, hey, we're gonna try to stop the one run with C.J. Mosley and Quentin Williams, Quentin Williams, we're gonna do that every once in a while. We might not crowd the box. Yeah, every time. So that makes sense when you have the proper size out there. But when you're already small at linebacker, right? And then you're just, going with 4 down linemen and lining up against that type of size, you're going to lose most of the time. And I don't have a problem with that happening when you just, you figure they're passing and it's been a pass happy game. But when they're running, because it's been a run heavy game, and you still continue to do it into the fourth quarter, all the way through the entire game, to me, that's no adjusting. There's no adjustment.
And so that was one of my biggest critiques about Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
I think that people took what I said when I said, well, hey, I'm losing faith in Dan Quinn. I'm not in a sense losing faith in Dan Quinn. Even me and Akoye talked about, okay,
I had to say
he's done it.
What I said to you earlier is what I say again, man. I would say I'm concerned if I didn't know that the guy could do it, meaning I haven't seen it. Then I can say, well, I'm concerned because I don't know what he is. I don't know what he can do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dan Quinn, his history with Seattle, he had KJ Wright and he had Bobby Wagner. Those are natural linebackers. In Atlanta, he had Aloku, if that's how you say his name, and number 54, Aloku. I think his name was Aloku. Dude went to high school with Zeke Elliott. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I think his name was Aloku. But Aloku, and he had Deion Jones. Those are linebackers, real linebackers. When he came here, he brought with him Keanu Neal, and he put him at linebacker. And that's when this experiment started with using safeties at linebacker. I'm like, hey, you brought that here. It works on third downs. It works in situations, but it's not something that I think is a staple that you should make the staple of this defense. He was never a big nickel guy either prior to here. Actually, all right, man. Yeah, you too, brother. Yeah, keep working on it. Sorry, one of my fighters leaving. But in reality, when you have a guy, since he's been here, he has not played the same defense once. Each season we change defenses, if you guys noticed that. And I think it started with Curse. When Curse came here and Wilson was hurt, Curse put up some quality reps while he was out. And they said, well, how do we keep Curse on the field and keep Wilson on the field when Wilson comes back? And then this 4-4 big nickel was born. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's when it was born. So that's what happened. Do I think that Dan Quinn can't adjust? No, I don't think he can't, but that's what pisses me off about it. I know he can adjust, but he won't adjust. There's a difference between can't and won't. Can't, I'm concerned. Won't, I'm mad at you. You know what I mean? If you have a player that can do something and won't do it, that just makes me pissed. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't make me concerned.
This is part of why I say I'm losing faith, but I still do have faith because I have seen Dan Quinn choke the run. He choked the run versus San Francisco in the playoffs last year very well. And I think his game plan was outstanding against them. Now, this is one of those plays that I was talking about this is dart. So for those of you who don't know, we see Dawkins pulling, okay? Now, I think they're slanting, but I'm not sure. To me, this is undisciplined football. I don't know the call. So I won't speak on that because most coaches will tell you if I don't know the full call, I won't speak on it. But this is also Osa, right? We're talking about Osiris Torrance and everybody. Yeah, but everybody's Osiris Torrance can't play. Well, guess what? You're also making his job easy because you picked a side and you got washed. So now you're out to play. Osa's out to play. Okay.
And then you have. I don't think Osa was supposed to crash, and I'm gonna tell you why.
And now look at Bell just get destroyed, right?
Well, look at Bell in the wrong place as well because Micah's in the C gap already with his free shoulder ready to go. So Micah already set the edge right there.
He did set that edge, yes.
Okay, so why are you outside of Micah? If Micah either Micah's doing something wrong, Micah's either supposed to be in that B gap inside, and they're slashing inside, and Micah didn't do the right thing, or Bell is wrong and he's not supposed to be in the C gap. He's supposed to be in the B gap. Either way, now one of those three are wrong. Either Osa wasn't supposed to slash, and he's supposed to play square up, right? And Micah's supposed to squeeze, and
Yeah.
Bell is supposed to, play the C gap, right?
Yeah.
Or Micah's supposed to set the edge, Osa's supposed to play square up, and Bell is supposed to hit the B, right? One or the other, but one of those three is supposed to happen. And I'm going to assume because Osa has been here and Micah has been here, and Osa decided to slash into the A gap, and Micah parted like the Red Sea into the C gap,
Into the
then
C.
you supposed to be in the B gap, Bell. You're supposed to
Yeah.
shoot that
Yeah.
gap.
I'm gonna assume. But so watch this. Even still, right?
Mm-hmm.
If which he they're both in the C. You right? Which is
They don't belong there.
they don't
Just
they
go
don't
back to the
belong in
beginning
the
of the
C.
play and watch
Yeah.
where Bell first step outside. He didn't even attempt to get inside.
To read. Yeah. And
See,
so
boom.
my problem is this. Now, Damone, I know we have six to their seven. Cool. No, they don't have a tight end, so this is actually numbers that make sense, right? But the problem with it is now the fit is off, and I'm watching Damone. Okay, center go next level, but Damone, don't let him get his hands on you. Like
Mm.
you're an athlete. This dude is a fat kid. No offense to anybody that's
You
fat,
got to
but
get across there too.
yeah, like get
But
over the top. This is now a 10-yard run or whatever it was,
yeah.
because and that's the part where, and that was just one of the plays.
And beyond that, people are saying like we like DQ said, LV is missed. I just told you we have a guy who does this very well on the
I'm
team.
telling you, he's coming downhill.
Rashawn Evans,
Rashawn Evans coming downhill. I'm
he is
telling you that
playing
now.
right now too. When he gets in, he got in immediately after Clark got put out, right out the game. He got in, and his first rep was a tackle for loss. I think probably the only tackle for loss by a linebacker in this game was Evans, and he only played like 7-8 snaps. So we're not missing it. We just got to use what we have. And if you are missing it that bad, then put him out there and show us that we're missing it. But you can't tell me we're missing LVE when we got a guy who LVE has never put up a year like Evans' a year last year. People say, oh, the rookie year he was all pro. Man, listen, no, last season Rashawn Evans played 17 games and played like his hair was on fire every game. And I watched his film from last season. I don't know who Rashawn Evans is. It's not like I wanted Rashawn Evans here and I'm a fan.
Well, I watched him at Alabama, but yeah, I know what you mean.
I didn't know what he was.
Yeah.
I watched his film.
Yeah.
All when we signed him, I said, let me see who this guy is. And I sat there for 3 hours with fans and watched the film. And then I continued to watch the film. And I'm like, well, at first I'm thinking when he gets up to speed and learns the playbook, which will take probably like 2 or 3 weeks, he'll be fine. Well, he knows the playbook now. So you can't say he's not playing because he doesn't know where to be. He knows where to be. So the problem now is they just won't put him in there and let him do it. And then trust the fact that, if he makes a mistake here and there, you got to own that because the other guys are making mistakes and you're owning that and you're allowing that to continue. So you can't just yank a guy off field because he made one mistake. Yeah. Whereas you leave Curse out a single high for passing for personal fouls after personal foul. He's still out there. You see a guy and Clark and Bell getting pushed all over the place. You ain't yanked them out the game. They still out there. It's like it seems as if he has more faith in those guys because he knows those guys. And that's where nepotism to me starts to kind of like leak in there. And I don't know whose part it's on. I don't know if it's Jerry that's saying I want these guys to play, McCarthy or DQ. I don't know who it is, but I know for a fact that you can't tell me your best players are playing when you have a guy that's a top 10 first round draft pick grade at linebacker who plays edge and never played any linebacker that game. That's a problem. You have another first round graded linebacker in Evans who didn't play very much that game. And if you say you need pass rush, you have a first round graded defensive end that could have spelled Michael on the edge and Fowler. Who played probably less than 10 snaps. He gets the edge
probably,
You got Sam Williams, who's a first round graded defensive end, who only went to the end of the second round, which is still like the first round. But he only went there because of his behavior, not because of his play. So he's a first round talent defensive end as well. So you can have all four of those guys on the field at the same time. Or you can have D-Law and one of those other two on the field at the same time as anyone in the interior, whether it's Mozzie and Osa, Mozzie and Chauncey and Osa, however you want it. You can have that out there if you so chose. But instead, we run with two rookies and one being a linebacker, one being a safety at linebacker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
that,
You know what's so interesting too, and if nothing else, dog, just blitz Mike every play. Like, I mean, if you want to just
if you want to
sim
put them in the
pressures,
middle, yeah,
yeah, just
play
sim, like just have those
if
five
you
man
don't want to
pressures.
blitz, just play 3-4. We won't have this problem.
Yeah,
Play
just
a true 3-4, meaning put Evans and Clark in the middle of the field. You're protecting Clark with those three down linemen, and you have an opposite side of that, so you can kick. He won't do this because he does it like once or twice a game, and I see it. That's what gets me excited about the 3-4. But he don't stay with it. He'll run like a 5-1-5. Where one
yeah,
linebacker and that
front.
one linebacker would be Bell. If you're gonna run a 5-1-5, make the one linebacker Micah Parsons, and then it's his job. He's in the middle of the field. He can
Run
patrol,
and he
he
can
can
be
blitz, he
yeah.
can do whatever he needs to do. But when you run a 3-4, you can kick D-Law to the 4 tech at defensive end, 3-4 defensive end. Osa, 3-4 defensive end. And then have Mozzie or Hankins when he's back at nose tackle. And you have Fowler and Sam Williams on one side and Michael on the other. Okay. And then you have Clark and Evans in the middle of the field. But the reason we don't do that is because you got to pull Curse off the field, or you
Yeah.
got to pull one of the nickel guys off the field to do that.
It
That's the
would it would
problem.
it would be cursed, like you said. Just it
They
would
don't want
that's
to
what it
do
would
that.
be, and they don't want to do
They don't
that.
want to do
I
that.
also think last game, just to be honest, I like Wanye, but he kind of missed a few tackles in space.
Man, I don't
Yeah,
have
I
no
don't know.
problems with that. You
No,
know
and I
why?
don't, I don't, I
I got
don't. But
zero.
I do miss Hooker. I
Oh,
thought
we
Hooker.
gonna miss Hooker.
Yeah,
But the
yeah, I did
reason I
miss
didn't
him.
have no problem with Wanye, because when I watched the film, Wanye, you say he missed a few tackles. Wanye was the only one coming down with force
Coming
to lay the ball.
playing
He was
downhill.
coming up
Yeah,
like running down the alley
running the alley.
hard,
Yeah,
smacking people all game. So I had no problem with that. And he's younger, and he should have
he's.
had reps a long time ago.
I
But
listen. I love Wanye
yeah, I
Akoye.
don't have
I'm
no
just
problem
saying
with that.
the whole team to me. It was
when
two
when
things.
when when the defensive line is doing its job and then they get to the second level and your linebackers are parted like the Red Sea, no running back is supposed to have a full run start at your safeties, play in, play out like they did in this
Like
game.
they did.
So
174 yards is tough.
Hooker didn't even have to deal with that in any
Yeah.
time this season. Maybe in the Arizona game, but other than that, Hooker don't have to deal with your linebackers are pushed all out of the way, and we haven't had to deal with this. It's not because, and it's kind of like smoke and mirrors. We're not a team that stops the run. We're a team that has been up so many times this season that we stop the run because we know that they're not going to run.
Yeah.
That's not the same as stopping the run when they want to run. Those two different things. If I know that you are trying to keep pace with Dak because you think Dak is going to score on your defense, we know you're not going to run. We know you're going to try to push the ball and score, so you're going to throw. But when we're playing from behind or we're playing a team that's close that can run, we have not shown that we can stop the run yet.
And that's what scares me. So
Not
let me
once.
ask you this. Miami, what would be your game plan for stopping not one but two backs? They have 2,000 yards total. They do a great zone gap, and their pre-snap motion is exceptional. And honestly, I think that McDaniel is a better coordinator than what we just played. What's Akoye's game plan?
I'm gonna tell you, you stop the run with what we've been stopping the run with all season, and that's with your offense. Our offense has stopped the run, not the defense. So you stop the run by putting some points up and letting them know that we can score. If we start off slow offensively, you're gonna get a lot of run, and I don't know if he'll do what it takes to stop it. But the way we've stopped the run this season is our offense keeps pace, so that they feel like they got to keep pace with that offense, and they're going to throw the ball and push the ball downfield and take chances, which gives us opportunities for turnovers and gives us an opportunity at getting at Tua. Tua and our offense is the way we stop the Dolphins. If this is a close game, the entire game, it's going to be a problem for us stopping the run, I think. But Tua doesn't move very well. We can rush to a spot better than
He
any
does
other
not play
team
off
in the
schedule.
league. So if we can get to Tua in the pass game, we can affect them there. And if you want to stop the run, then Dak's going to have to score. Because if we have a close game, I would be surprised if this is a close game the entire game and we shut the run down. I would be surprised and impressed. But it'll be
Yeah,
the first time I saw it all year. Haven't seen it.
that you know what? I think that's what I was. That's kind of where I'm at with it. And the crazy thing is, I think that you're gonna have to find spots to attack this defense. Um, Ramsey followed last week. Obviously, they're playing a lesser quarterback at the Jets, but he did follow Garrett Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's going to be interesting. But I'm with you. I think that if it's me, I'm run blitzing on early downs,
Mm-hmm.
and here's why. If you're gonna beat me, it's not gonna be beat me with Tyreek Hill, cool. But what you're not gonna do is it's not gonna be the slow death of 6 yards, 4 yards,
Mm-hmm.
8 yards. We're gonna choke that first, and then we're gonna rush.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what I would do. I'm also gonna make Tua beat me. And one thing that I noticed that Kansas City did great when they played Miami was when Tua hit his third foot on his drop, Okoye, if the picture looked muddy, he just came off of it and his eyes dropped. I
Mm-hmm.
think Dan Quinn has to steal some of that. I like what you said. I like what you said about, I don't know if he will. I like what you said about walking guys up, bailing them,
Mm-hmm.
walking guys down, getting out and getting in the zones. I think that's what, and Tua's
You
a
need
smaller
you need to
quarterback.
borrow some time from somewhere. So you either
Yeah,
need to do it. So that's how you borrow time because pre-snap he's thinking something. You got to make him second guess what he's looking at. Dan will have alignments where because we want to play so much man, and that's why I said no when you start talking about KC. KC and the Bills, the reason they did every team that's done well against them has done one thing very well: play zone.
they run zone.
We don't run zone.
No, we don't.
So even when Belichick and those guys played, they played quarters defense. They just played off ball all the way from the start, and they play zone. The Raiders zone, Bills zone. You know the teams that have tried to man up against these guys, they I call them motion sickness. They run so many pre-snap motions that they're gonna they're gonna put you out of position. And the crazy thing is that offense was designed to stop our defense or to
Mm-hmm.
attack our defense because it's an NFC West offense. Just like the Rams offense with all the crossers, they run a mesh rail concept. Their mesh rail concept is designed to frustrate single high safeties.
Yeah, and man, that's a man
Yeah.
beater.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this concept is the same. It's a lot of motion to confuse your communication and force you, if you're in too high, they trying to release the safety so that they can force you into single high looks, even if you try to come too high. Right. So they were doing that to KC, but KC had an answer. Like when you run that motion, you free up our safety, where that safety's on that opposite side of the field by himself. We're gonna bring him down. He's gonna blitz. And that free safety or strong safety, depending on what side you do that to, is going to rotate to the middle of the field. And now that nickel or corner has to replace that deep second or deep half of the field.
When
And
they're
now they're
trying
still
to,
in too high, but now he's rushing it too high from there. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, it's like a counterclockwise motion. Like if I'm too high and they
yeah,
move to the left, right?
they
One
motion to
comes
the left.
down
Yeah,
and then moves over, and then the other one comes up from that side. See what I'm saying? So
the
they
nickel
still
player.
post snap will have a too high look on you, but they're doing that with zone.
Yeah,
Can't do that with man. So unless you're like your communication would have to be ridiculous to do that with man. So I don't think Dan is going to try that because we've been a man team all season. So we're playing our strength is their strength. They are
yeah,
strong against cover one and cover three. We only play cover one and cover three.
yeah. I think your saving grace will be, and this is, we'll wrap on this. And let me know if I'm wrong, Corey. I think your saving grace will be you're gonna have to get pressure on Tua. You're gonna have to
That's
make
it.
him uncomfortable. I have seen him
Hit them.
when things start to look a little goofy, he starts to get rattled. Throws don't look the same. He's not gonna extend plays. If you let Tua sit back there, hit his foot, and pick you apart, he's
Yeah.
going to pick you apart. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah, this is a game where pressure definitely matters. And this is actually one game where I'd say, hey man, if y'all wanted to move Evans next to Clark at the backer position,
Yeah,
and this would be a game where you have Micah on edge mostly because you want to affect Tua as much as possible, cool, no
cool.
problem. This would be a game plan for that. But if they decide that they're gonna run heavy, then you need to move Micah off ball and let him do his thing, because you need to funnel traffic to your best player.
Oh,
And
Mike McDaniel running the ball. I'm gonna tell you that he's gonna
I
try
know
you.
he running the
Yeah,
ball, and he
yeah,
running. And here's the other thing I just said: in the air, their strength is attacking cover one and cover three in the air. On the ground, their strength is attacking the edges. And guess where we're weak on the ground?
the edges.
The edges.
Um,
So this is gonna be a game. Now,
it,
like I
it,
said,
yeah,
come
get
out
ready.
defensively and shut them down and show us and show something different. I will be surprised and impressed.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good litmus test for what you'll see down the road in the playoffs
Yeah.
versus San Fran. Let's just be honest. And I'm gonna be honest with you. They scored 30 points a game. The Cowboys scored 31 a game, average wise. I think Akoye said it best, guys. You're gonna have to score points. If you come out there and you're lollygagging and you're going three and outs, or you're extending drives with stupid penalties, they're gonna score points.
Yeah.
We don't know if Tyreek Hill is playing, but I'm gonna tell y'all, Jalen Waddle is like really good.
Oh, he's fast too.
Like he's another one who could just run past your defense.
He
So
can run
like
right by a lot of people.
yeah, so man, Akoye, this was a great talk, bro. I just wanted to get your insight on this game. Is there anything else you got? Anything else for this defense? Because I wanted to really dive in on this defense. I actually think that our offense will be fine.
Mm.
But I really wanted to dive in on our defense. Is there anything else you got?
Um, the defense has to become more of a meritocracy, right?
Mhm.
And I don't, like I said, I don't know where the nepotism is coming from. I don't know if it's like money plays. Does money play, or is it coaches, preference? I'm not sure. And you never are when Jerry Jones is a part of your team. But I will say, when you have guys, I can see it clearly. Clark was hurt last game. He got injured and still was running around limping because he doesn't want to get pulled out because he thinks he's going to lose his job. I could tell that. You got Curse, who had hurt his back earlier in the season, and it shows. And I don't think Curse is actually regressing at all. I think he's been playing through injury because he doesn't want to lose his job. I don't even think that Wilson is 100% because we haven't blitzed Wilson half as much as we did last year.
As we used to, yeah.
Yeah, and he used to play behind the line of scrimmage a lot. We don't blitz him at all. So I think those guys are injured and they're trying to hold the line because you have guys like Izzy Mukwamu who doesn't get to play, and Wanye Thomas who doesn't get to play, and Rashawn Evans who doesn't get to play. You have these guys that are behind these other guys, and I think there's a lot of stubbornness going on due to that fact. Like, people don't want to lose their gig, so it's and it's hard to say it's hurting the team because we're doing so well, right? But in the playoffs, you'll see that won't fly. You can't tell me that a guy who played as well as Izzy did in the Tampa Bay game can't seem to find a role on this team at all. You know what I mean? And Rashawn Evans, who played so well last year, can't find a role on this team at all. So those things to me are in question and strange. So hopefully, things change this week,
Yeah.
and we get a different approach from Dan Quinn, who I know knows how to coach the hell out of some football, man. So
Yeah.
hopefully he drops the stubbornness and starts to let those guys show what they can do as well, because they definitely are it. I think that we have a very talented deep team, and we have all the tools on this defense to do exactly what we want to do out there. It's just if you choose to or
If you
not
choose to.
is the
And I
question.
like that word
We
nepotism.
don't need to go get anybody. We got
Yeah.
them here. Just
Yeah.
use them.
And use them correctly. Like we said about Chauncey, it's just for the life of me. I mean, the guy plays DN. I mean, he's an Iowa DN. They stop the run. Like, those guys are coached up.
Chauncey opposite on early downs. We used to do this with Tyrone Crawford. Chauncey opposite D Law. You can't run the edges. It's not happening.
No, nope.
D Law on one side, Chauncey on the other. Chauncey takes on double teams from the middle, from the three tech, and he kills there. But when you put Chauncey opposite D Law, they have to run up the middle.
His arms are long. Like,
That's
he
why I
plays it the
said put
right way.
Micah in off ball, because I'm saying if you want to keep Micah on the field, put him at linebacker, put Chauncey on one side, D-Law on the other on early downs, and they got to run at Micah. And then you got yourself third and long, second and long situations. And then Micah gets to do what we like Micah doing. But last game, he had 2 tackles he couldn't get to the pass rush situation. Why? Because they had so much success running elsewhere. And they
Yeah, they
said
didn't
it.
even throw the ball.
They
Yeah,
said it. Josh Allen said that wasn't our game plan. We came out to throw the ball. We decided, like, hey, if you're going to keep coming out against 21 personnel, which is 2 tight ends and 1 back, or 22 personnel, which is 2 tight ends, 2 backs,
Yeah.
and you're going to come out there with 6 in the box, We gonna run. It's very simple.
We gonna run the
We gonna
football.
run. We know you telling us what we about to do.
And a good
By
team
doing
is
that
gonna take that.
every
So,
time.
hey man, Akoye, what a great time, man. Thank you so much for joining me. I
Thank you.
actually gotta head to a basketball practice. And I know you, man, you've been training, you've been doing your thing. I just can't
Man,
thank you enough for jumping on. I want to do this
thank you.
weekly with you because it's
Man,
heating up.
anytime. I'm
It's heating
jumping.
up. And so, like, these are the conversations where we could dig deep and not have the fluff conversations. But it's like now
Yeah,
the
yeah.
run game. Let's really figure out what's going on with the run. Let's really.
Facts.
So, anyway, man, it's your boy Foots. As always, y'all, give me a thumbs up for Akoye Media. Make sure you guys follow him at Akoye Media. He's been tearing Twitter up. Make sure you guys follow me. Like, share, subscribe. Remember, description box, the real insurance lady. Foots, Akoye, peace. Boom.